names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all king-size cigarettes, brings you Dragnet on both radio and television.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a Bunco detail. An experienced confidence man is set up. From his first two victims, he gets more than $8,000. You've got one good lead on the suspect, his method of operation. Your job, get him.
Prove Fatima quality yourself today.
Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
You'll find Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
You'll find Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
And in Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality.
Remember, Fatima gives you more for your money.
Buy Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack. Best of all, king-size cigarettes.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, December 9th. It was windy in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of Bunco detail. My partner's Ed Jacobs. The boss is Captain Steve. My name's Friday. I was on the way into the office, and it was 7:50 a.m. when I got to room 38. Bunco detail.
Oh, morning, Joe.
Hi, Charlie. How'd you make out yesterday?
Nothing.
No luck at all, huh?
Nothing's going to help us much. Got the same description on the guy. Used the same name, same M.O. Didn't get anything we don't already know about him. How about you? Your luck any better?
About the same. Checked out the building where the suspect rented office space. He moved out 3 days ago. No forwarding address. Checked the hotel he was supposed to be stopping at. Didn't pan out.
Give him time. He'll stick his neck out again.
No, it doesn't guarantee we'll reach him. Too late to start when the complaints come in. We're going to have to dig up a faster way of getting to him.
Hey, you got a match?
Yeah, sure, Charlie. Here you are.
Thanks.
Too bad.
Oh, by the way, what's this I hear about your partner?
What?
Ed Jacobs understands you're losing him.
Oh, yeah, temporarily anyway.
What's the deal?
Well, he's going on a loan out up at the academy. Going to be an instructor up there 2 months anyway, maybe more.
When does this happen?
Tomorrow, the 10th.
What are you going to do for a partner? You and Ken going to work together?
No, the captain's bringing in a new man, young fella. He's been working in the business office.
You mean the big Irish kid works the early morning?
No, this boy's been working days. Name's Bill Lockwood. I asked for him as soon as I found out I was going to lose Ed.
You know him?
Well, a little bit, yeah. You remember Ben Romero?
Yeah, sure.
Well, Lockwood's a nephew of Ben's. Sister's boy. Tall, red hair.
Oh, yeah, I've seen him around. Seems to be a nice enough kid. Have a good record, has he?
Well, the captain thinks so. Figures he ought to work in pretty well.
Oh, by the way, have you seen Ben's wife lately?
Yeah, I did a couple of weeks ago. Seems to be doing all right. Still misses Ben, of course.
Yeah, I imagine.
The little boy's sure getting big. Looks a lot like his dad, too.
Miss him quite a bit yourself, huh?
Yeah, Charlie, I guess I do.
Well, I better get on my horse. I got some checking to do. I hope the Lockwood boy works out for you.
Well, I think he'll do all right.
Can't say I'd be crazy about the idea myself.
What do you mean?
Breaking in a new man. No detective experience. When I go out to pick up a thief, I like to figure I've got some good backing. I mean, a partner I'm used to. Tough enough watching out for yourself, let alone a green youngster.
Well, somebody had to do it for us. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, I suppose.
I remember when I first started. There didn't come much greener than me. Partner did all the work, took all the chances, helped me every foot of the way. He never mentioned it once. I never forgot that. It's a good cop.
What was his name?
Ben Romero. In our particular setup, before a man's eligible to apply for duty in the Detective Bureau, he has to have a minimum of 5 years' experience as a police officer, either assigned to radio patrol, traffic duty, or some other general assignment. After the initial 5 years of service, the men go through a screening process to determine which department and which job they'll fit into best, some position that they seem to show a natural aptitude for. If a man applies for duty in a division of the Detective Bureau, and if he's accepted, he's assigned a partner to work with the day he goes on the job, generally a working detective with some experience. In the case of Ben's nephew, Bill Lockwood, he put in his first 5 years working Wilshire traffic and also doing radio patrol in Hollenbeck and 77th Street divisions. After spending another 11 months in our business office, Captain Steed put in a request for him, and he was transferred. When I heard Ed Jacobs was going to be loaned to the police academy as an instructor, I talked to Captain Steed about Lockwood, and he assigned him as my new partner. The changeover happened in the middle of one of the toughest investigations we'd had in months. A bunco artist who was working hard at the business opportunities racket. The following morning, December 10th, Bill Lockwood reported in for work, and we drove out to check a potential lead on the suspect. On the way, I laid out the case for him.
Nothing on the man in R&I, huh? No record at all?
No, as far as we know, Bill. Checked Brereton up at Sacramento, CII. Nothing doing there. He couldn't help it.
And what have you been going on? His description?
Yeah, that and his M.O. and his name. He uses a different alias on each job. Russell Preston, that was the last name he used.
I see. He usually starts by putting a want ad in the paper, is that it?
Well, he rents himself an office first, usually a pretty expensive one, well furnished. Then he hires a good-looking secretary, has her put a want ad in the daily papers for him, and he's in business.
How do the ads read? The usual?
Yeah, typical thing you see in the daily paper. A business opportunity for people with vision, good investment, high profits, apply now, you know. And then he gives his address and phone number. There's nothing clever about it, but people still go for it.
He get many replies, do you know?
Well, we figure he got between 20 and 30 on that last deal he pulled. Seems all he has to do is land one victim out of the bunch with enough money, and he's got it made. Took his first victim here for $5,000. Second one for $3,200. Both elderly women. Took them for their last dollar.
About the way he sets up the deal with these different businessmen, Joe, I don't think I got it quite straight.
Well, how do you mean?
Well, say the owner of that manufacturing plant that's Russell Preston lined up.
Yeah?
You say Preston went to the plant, introduced himself as a business advisor, told the owner of the plant he had some people with money to invest. He convinced the owner he was legitimate.
Yeah, that's right.
Then Preston had his two victims shown through the plant and convinced them they ought to invest their money in the business.
Yeah, that's it.
Do you mean to say the plant owners were acting in good faith?
Well, they were all checked out, Bill. Everything about them. They all have good business reputations. They didn't know any more about the deal than the victims. They needed more capital for their business, and they figured this was it.
This Preston, or whatever his name is, sure must have a line that won't stop.
He's got everything that goes with it. Nice clothes, well-mannered, good-looking. He doesn't try to high-pressure anybody. Tells them if they have confidence in him, he'd be glad to invest their money. If they hedge it all, he shows them right through the office.
Pretty good pitch. Once they're sold on him, he's got him over a barrel.
About the size of it, yeah.
Funny there's no record on him. Sure sounds like he's had a lot of experience. What are the other names he's used, do you remember?
Well, just two of them we know of. Russell R. Preston and George A. Fairchild.
I guess the newspapers have been checked out, huh? The ones he ran the what ads in?
Yeah, they've all been talked to. All their personnel have been notified to watch for ads of that type. Be one way to get a lead on him if he tries again.
Well, what about the buildings where he rented office space? Couldn't the people there help any?
Well, they confirmed his description. We picked up samples of his handwriting. That's about it. He only rented the offices long enough to cover his deal, about 2 weeks. See, what 100 block is this, Bill? Can you see over there?
Let's see. Yeah, 1700.
Oh, we want the next one, 1811.
Who's this woman we're going to talk to? Vivian Castle, is that right?
Yeah. I'm not sure if she's the right girl or not. Got the lead from an employment agency. Chance she might be the girl Preston hired to be his secretary. I don't know.
Oh, good parking place up there ahead, huh?
Yeah, that's good. You pull up anywhere along here. It's fine.
Two doors down, Joe. Real estate office, 1811.
Yeah, I see it. Good morning.
Good morning. Can I help you?
Police officers, ma'am. We'd like to talk to a Miss Castle, Vivian Castle.
Oh, I'm Vivian Castle.
Here's our identification. This is my partner, Officer Lockwood. My name's Friday.
How do you do?
How do you do? What is it you want, officers?
We'd like to find out if you know a George Fairchild, ma'am.
Fairchild? No, I don't know anyone by that name.
How about a Russell Preston, miss? That mean anything to you?
Oh, I used to work for Mr. Preston, Russell Preston.
About how long ago was that?
A month and a half ago.
Mm-hmm. Where does he have his offices?
Oh, I did have him on South Grand near 8th, the old Belmont Harris building. Why?
Would you mind describing Mr. Preston for us, ma'am? Just a general description of him.
He's about 40, 45 years old. Brown hair, a little gray. Nice build. Seemed to be a very nice man at first. Always dressed so nice. Just wore a dark blue suit. Seemed to be very nice.
Checks out so far, Joe.
Yeah.
Do you mind telling me what it's about?
We'd like to locate Mr. Preston, ma'am. You any idea where he is now?
I wish I did. I'd call the State Labor Commission. He seemed like such a nice man. I've never been so disappointed in my life.
How do you mean, Miss Castle?
He owes me 2 weeks' pay, $65 a week. Hired me as a private secretary. Good jobs aren't hard to get now, either. He can't say he was giving me a break when he hired me. Are you from the Labor Commission?
No, ma'am, we're not. Could you tell us how long you worked for this Mr. Preston?
Just for 3 weeks. He said I was going to get paid every Friday. Gave me the money for the first week, and that's all. Kept waiting for my pay, but he kept putting me off. Last week and a half, he didn't even show up at the office. I was there all alone, 8 hours a day. Finally, the building manager showed up and told me it was all over. Mr. Preston closed the office. Didn't even have the decency to come in and say thank you, goodbye. I just left.
And you have no idea at all where Mr. Preston is now?
No, sir, I wish I did.
Were there any office files, mail files, any way to get a possible line on him?
Not as far as I know. I didn't keep any files for him. Matter of fact, I didn't do any work at all. Just a showpiece. I guess that's all he kept me there for. There's no reason why he shouldn't pay me, though. Are you sure you're not from the Labor Commission?
Did Mr. Preston ever have you place any want ads in the daily papers, Miss Castle?
Yeah, he did a couple of times. Ads for business opportunities, you know. He was in the investment business, helped people invest their money.
Would you happen to know anyone who invested money with him? I mean, would you know them by name?
No, not by name. Quite a few people came through the office. I know a few of them made deals with Mr. Preston. I wouldn't remember their names, though.
And you don't know any friends he might have had in town? Any of his business associates?
No, sir, not a one. I didn't know he had any associates.
How about where he was staying, Miss Castle? You must have known that.
Yeah, the first week I was there, I did. It's the only week I got paid for. He was staying at a small hotel on South Flower. He moved the next week, though I don't know where he went after that. Neither does the hotel. I asked him.
Well, during the time you worked for him, ma'am, did you ever have anything to do with Mr. Preston socially? I mean, was it part of your job to go out to dinner with him, things like that?
I did once or twice when he asked me. I didn't think it was part of my job, though. Mr. Preston didn't mention it either. Once we went out to dinner, just the two of us. Another time we went out with my girlfriend, Norma. I had a terrible time. Mr. Preston was awful.
And how do you mean, miss?
Well, he drank too much and was throwing his weight around. You know, the boss. And he kept making a play for my girlfriend, Norma. I think he liked her quite a bit. Sure was embarrassing, though. Look, would you mind telling me what's the matter? Is Mr. Preston in trouble with the police?
Yes, ma'am, I'm afraid so. He's cheated some people out of quite a bit of money. It's not the first time either.
Well, what was it? What did he do?
Confidence scheme. Selling interest in a company he had no connection with.
That isn't the limit. I guess it's my own fault. I should have known better. It's happened before.
Well?
They hire you. They give you a beautiful office, nice soft chair to sit on. They never give you any work to do. Don't have to lift a finger. I finally got the drift.
Yeah.
Those are the kind you have to watch out for.
Bill Lockwood and I continued questioning the former secretary of Russell Preston, alias George Fairchild, but she was unable to come up with any kind of a definite lead as to the suspect's whereabouts. We left our card with the girl, and she promised to contact us in the event she came across any information regarding Preston. For the rest of the day, we ran down 3 more possible leads. They came from an informant, a head waiter in a second-rate nightclub, a small-time grifter with an axe to grind. And they all figured they had the right answer, where to find Preston. We checked out the 3 locations they gave us, a motel out near Santa Monica, a rooming house in Hollywood, a cocktail lounge in Highland Park. Not one of the 3 paid off. Russell Preston, alias George Fairchild, wasn't known at any of the places, either by name, dress, or physical description. During the next 3 weeks, along with Sergeant Charlie Riblett and Ken Scarce of Bunco Detail, Bill Lockwood and I ran down every possible lead on the suspect. Hotels, the want-ad departments of the daily papers, managers of downtown office buildings, secretarial employment agencies, small businesses advertising stock for sale. They got us nothing. Despite all the precautions and all the legwork, on January 6th, we got a call from a Mrs. Marie Barrett in the Westlake Park area. She owned and managed a toy shop just off Wilshire Boulevard. Bill Lockwood and I drove out to talk to her.
Yes, they told me it was the opportunity of a lifetime, a big opportunity. I just can't believe it. Can't understand it. Why, he even took me out and showed me the factory. Him and the man who ran the place. They're making plastics. Showed me the whole plant.
You say the plant was out in Glendale, ma'am. Whereabouts?
It was right along San Fernando Road, maybe a mile or 2 before you get to the airport. They showed me through the whole plant.
Who showed you through, Miss Barrett?
Owner of the place, and it's Mr. Fairchild. It's a big place, making plastics of all kinds. Can't say I wasn't impressed.
What was Mr. Fairchild's first name? Do you remember?
George Fairchild and Associates. That was the name on the door of the office when I went up to see him. Of course, I really didn't have a notion to invest any money when I first went up. It was a newspaper ad, you know, and I answered lots of them. Kind of a hobby with me.
Yes, ma'am.
So I went up to see him, and we talked. And as I say, I wasn't thinking of investing any money, but Mr. Fairchild seemed like such a nice man. Seemed to have a good business head on his shoulders. Well, ended up with me putting my whole savings account into the plastics plant. $6,400, every penny of it. I haven't heard from Mr. Fairchild since. I just don't know what to think. I can't understand it.
Do you have any idea where to contact this Fairchild now? Any address, telephone number?
Well, I called his office. It's in the Oxford Exchange building.
Mm-hmm.
There's no answer, though. They say it's disconnected. I've been trying for a week to contact Mr. Fairchild. I mean, $6,400. I just don't know what to do. It's all my savings. I don't know what to do. Oh, well, excuse me, please. Customer can't afford to miss the sale now.
Yes, ma'am. You go right ahead.
Helen, will you help this lady, please?
Looks like he scored again, huh?
I wouldn't doubt it. She seems to do a fair business here, huh? I mean, after Christmas and all.
Yeah, I suppose. Of course, the women go for it. You hang up a sale sign, you can't beat them off with a club.
That's right.
See this gadget here? Pretty clever, huh?
Miniature Sherman tank. What's it do?
Watch.
Well, how about that?
Pretty cute, isn't it? Cannons on the side, sparks coming out. My nephew got one for Christmas. It's got a lot of power. Tries to climb over just about anything.
Uh-huh.
Sorry to keep you waiting, officers. Customers have to be tended to.
Surely we understand. Now, about this money you gave Fairchild and Miss Barrett, the $6,400, how'd you work that? I mean, did you give him a check, or how'd you do it?
Yes, I gave him a check. It was cashed the same day I gave it to him. I found that out from the bank.
What was it you were supposed to get for your money, ma'am?
Interest in the plastics company. 1/5 interest. Seemed like such a good idea at the time.
Did you ever discuss the deal with the owners of the plastics company? I mean, when Mr. Fairchild wasn't around?
No, I guess I never did. Mr. Fairchild didn't think it was a good idea. Said he wanted me to get the most for my money, and said he was afraid if the company owners talked to me alone, they might argue me into taking less profit. Didn't want me to talk to him at all if he wasn't around.
And you weren't suspicious of him at all, huh?
Mr. Fairchild? No. Very nice man. There are a few things he did that made me a little uncertain, but he always explained everything to me. He always had a good reason for everything he did. Nice man, clean cut, well-dressed, beautiful manners. Never take him for anything but a gentleman. You'll see what I mean. Where do you meet him?
Yes, ma'am.
Just a perfect gentleman. I don't know what to think. I can't call him a crook. He just isn't that kind.
Well, he took your money, Miss Barrett.
Yes.
What else would you call him? 2:18 p.m. When we got through interviewing the latest victim, Marie Barrett, Bill Lockwood and I drove out to the plastics company on San Fernando Road where we talked to the owner and manager. The story was pretty much the same. The suspect, using the name of George Fairchild, had called on them 3 weeks before, introducing himself as an investment counselor. He told them he had clients with money to invest in a growing industry such as theirs, and they went for the story. They told us Fairchild had come back 2 or 3 times with different persons whom he introduced as his clients. They'd been shown through the plastics plant and given a sales talk. That's about all the company owners could tell us. When we got back to the office, we checked their names through the regular business channels and found out they were reputable businessmen. There was nothing to indicate that they had anything to do with the suspect's Bunco operations. 4:30 p.m.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah, Bill.
Girl out here to see us, the one who used to be Preston's secretary, Vivian Castle.
Oh, yeah. Did she say what she wanted?
No, seems a little anxious.
Officer, I'm glad I found you in.
How are you, Miss Castle?
I'm all right. I was going to phone you, but I couldn't remember your number. Lost the card you gave me, so I decided to come down. You remember talking to me, don't you, about Mr. Preston, my old boss?
Yes, ma'am. Have you heard from him?
Well, no, I haven't, but you remember me telling you about my girlfriend, Norma?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the time Mr. Preston took me out, Norma and her boyfriend were with us.
Yes, ma'am.
And the way Mr. Preston kept making a play for Norma. Well, I saw Norma at lunchtime today, first time in a week.
Mm-hmm.
She told me she got a call from Mr. Preston. I told her I'd tell you all about it. She's got a date with him.
When?
For dinner Friday night.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
To show our confidence in Fatima, we make you this money-back guarantee.
Buy a pack of Fatimas. Enjoy Fatima quality, extra mildness, and superbly blended tobaccos.
If you're not convinced Fatima is better than the king-size cigarette you're now smoking, just return the pack and the unsmoked Fatimas by August 1st, 1952, for your money back plus postage. Fatima, Box 37, New York 1.
Prove Fatima quality yourself. Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
And in Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality.
Fatima gives you more for your money. Ask your dealer for Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack. Buy Fatima. Best of all, king-size cigarettes.
Wednesday, January 6th, 4:50 p.m. We called Vivian Castle's girlfriend, Norma Cummings, and then we drove out to talk to her. The Cummings girl told us that Russell Preston had telephoned that morning and made the date with her for Friday night at 7:30. He said they were to have dinner at a nightclub out in the Wilshire district. He also mentioned to her that he was staying in a hotel, but she didn't know the name of the location. We made arrangements for a stakeout at Norma Cummings' apartment. The girl agreed to cooperate with us. Thursday, January 7th. We checked with the personnel at the different restaurants, bars, and nightclubs which Preston and the Cummings girl were to visit. Some of them remembered Preston, but as far as they knew, he hadn't been back. We left our cards with each one of them, and we asked him to contact us if he should return. Just after lunch on Friday, we got a phone call from Norma Cummings.
When was that, miss? Uh-huh. Did you find out where he was? I see. Mm-hmm. Will you be there for the rest of the day? All right, fine. Yeah, we'll call you back. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Cummings girl. She's at work. She just had a phone call from Preston. She tried to find out where he was. No go.
What did he have to say?
That dinner date he had with her tonight?
Yeah.
He called it off.
Later that afternoon, we went out and talked to the Cummings girl. She told us Preston explained on the phone that he had to cancel a date that night because of some business deal that had come up. He told her he'd get in touch with her over the weekend. He didn't. By Thursday of the following week, she still hadn't heard from him. 2 days later, on a Saturday afternoon, we got a call from one of the cocktail lounges Preston had visited. The bartender remembered us being in there to inquire about the suspect, and he'd saved our card. He said Preston was there now with another man drinking at the bar. We asked the bartender to try and delay the suspect as long as possible. Then we got in the car and drove to the location. It was too late. The bartender explained that he tried to delay the man that he thought was Preston, but he didn't have much luck. The suspect had left a few minutes after the bartender had called us. He'd been drinking heavily. The man Preston had been with was still there. He was sitting at an old upright piano in the back of the place trying to pick out a tune with one finger. Bill and I went back and talked to him. He gave his name as Fred Sandell.
Yeah, that's right. I was drinking with a fellow. Why? What's the matter, officer?
You ever see the man before?
Yeah, once or twice.
In here?
No, a place up the street, 780 Club. I had a couple of drinks with him in there.
You know his name?
Well, what's the angle? You want him for something?
Oh, it's just a routine check. We'd like to talk to him.
Oh, I don't know. I might know his name.
Yeah.
Well, what's the angle on the thing? You want him for something big?
We want to talk to him, that's all.
Was he full of ice? Something like that? Hey, he didn't look like that kind of guy. Oh, lousy thing, and then we could get that right.
How about it? You say you might know the man's name. What was it?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm the one that ought to tell you.
How do you mean?
Well, I don't want to get anybody in trouble. I want to give out names. What's the angle on him? You want him for something big or what?
Big enough, yeah.
Oh. Well, his name's Preston, I think. That's the name he gave me, anyway. I see him around bars in the neighborhood every once in a while.
How much do you know about him?
Well, not much. I had a few drinks with him now and then, talked a little bit. That's about all.
What did you say your name was?
Sandell, Fred Sandell. Well, what's the angle on this, Preston?
We want to get in touch with him. You know where he lives?
I don't know. I might. You want him for something big, isn't that right?
Well, what's the difference? We want him.
Well, it could be a lot of difference. I mean, what's the angle? If it's important to you and I helped you, well, you'd probably want to do the right thing, huh?
I don't know if I got you right.
Well, I mean, if you really want the guy, you know. If it's important to you and I helped you reach him, you'd want to make it square with me, wouldn't you? Huh? And not that I'm asking for payoff. You understand that?
Yeah, we understand. Where's Preston live?
Well, I didn't say I knew where the guy lives. I didn't say that.
Do you know where he lives?
Well, I'm not sure. Am I? I don't know if I'll tell you, though. I don't know.
All right, you want to stand by here, Bill? I better check in.
Yeah, fine.
Okay.
City Hall.
2625, please.
2625.
Record Bureau, huh?
Yeah, John, this is Joe Friday, Bunco.
Yeah, Friday.
I'd like to check on a suspect, John. He gives the name of Fred Sandell. He's a WMA, about 45, 5'10", 170 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes, ruddy complexion, small scar just below the left ear.
Okay. Want me to call you back on that?
Yeah, would you please? I'm at Dunkirk, 35016.
Right, I'll call you.
Thanks. Oh, say, John, could you switch me over to Bunco, please? I'm calling from outside.
Yeah, sure. Hang on.
Thank you.
Yes.
Would
Would
you
you switch this call over to Bunco detail, please?
Bunco detail, surely.
Bunco, Riblin.
Joe Friday, Charlie. Anything doing?
Oh, yeah, Joe, quite a bit. That suspect of yours, Russell Preston,
Mm-hmm.
he's been picked up.
Yeah? Well, how'd that happen?
A radio car picked him him up 8th and South Grand. Drunk charge, I understand. He was pretty well plastered, wandering around in the middle of the street. Had quite a bit of money on him. They brought him into robbery for questioning.
Are you sure he's Preston?
Yeah, description checks. A couple of sets of identification on him, too. One for Russell Preston, one for George Fairchild.
Well, where they got him now?
Next door, interrogation room. Ken Scarce is talking to him. He's copying out 2 of the jobs he pulled.
Okay, Charlie. Thanks a lot. We'll be right in.
Right, Joe.
All right, bye. Bill, see you a minute.
Yeah.
You might as well check in. Preston's been picked up.
Huh? When?
Probably just after you left this bar. A radio car spotted him, pulled him in.
How about that?
Yeah.
You work 2 months on a case, and just when we start to get close, somebody else picks the guy up.
Yeah, that's right. It's not very exciting, is it?
You know, I was just thinking, officer, I don't want to be a hardhead about this thing, you know. I mean, if you want this guy Preston, I'd be glad to try to help you find him. I don't want to be a hardhead.
Excuse me a minute. Yeah.
John Friday, Record Bureau.
Oh, yeah, John.
I got a make on that name you asked for, Fred Sandell. There's a warrant on him. Grand Theft Auto. Got a pretty long record. You want me to read it off?
No, that's all right, John.
Right. Bye.
Right, thank you.
What do you say, Sergeant? Suppose we sit down and have a drink and talk things over. And I'll show you where I think this Preston hangs out. I mean, if we make the right deal,
Well, it's already been made. You want to grab your top coat there? We'd like to talk to you downtown.
Me? What for? What are you talking about?
Grand Theft Auto. They want you, mister.
Oh, wait a minute. You made a mistake. You didn't come in here looking for me. You're not even the side of my case. Well, this ain't fair.
Get your coat. Let's go.
Yeah, but this ain't fair. You come in here looking for Preston. You didn't want me.
We do now.
Well, what kind of a deal do you call that? You're looking for Preston. You picked me up. Well, what's the angle?
There's no angle. Some days you got to settle for less, that's all. Come on, let's go.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On April 5th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 89, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, I sincerely hope you'll remember tomorrow what we've told you about Fatima tonight. You remember we said that Fatima is the best of all king-size cigarettes. Well, we'd like you to try a pack and prove that to your own satisfaction. You'll find Fatima gives you an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. And remember this, Fatima gives you more for your money. When you buy cigarettes, look for the bright, sunny yellow pack and buy Fatima. I know you'll like them.
Russell R. Preston, alias George Fairchild, alias Robert Fairchild, was tried and convicted on 3 counts of grand theft. Fred Sandell was tried and convicted of grand theft, 1 count. Both men received sentences as prescribed by law. They are now serving their terms in the state penitentiary, San Quentin, California. Grand theft is punishable by imprisonment for not less than 1 nor more than 10 years. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Martin Milner, Marion Richmond, Vic Rodman. Script by Jim Moser. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all king-size cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles. Now it's Counter Spy on NBC. The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all king-size cigarettes, brings you Dragnet on both radio and television.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. You get a call from the receiving hospital in your city. A dead body has been left in the hospital elevator. There's no lead to the identity of the corpse. There's no apparent cause of death. Your job, investigate. Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
Yes, compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
Fatima gives you more for your money.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Buy Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack. Best of all, king-size cigarettes.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, November 9th. It was foggy in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Bill Lockwood. The boss is Captain Lorman. My name's Friday. It was 11:28 p.m. when we got to the third floor at Georgia Street Receiving Hospital, Dr. Terrell's office.
Friday, glad to see you. Been waiting for you.
We made it as soon as we could, Doctor. I'd like to have you meet my new partner, Bill Lockwood. Dr. Terrell, Bill.
How are you? I think I've seen you around, Lockwood.
Yes, sir. How are you?
I understand you got a problem, Doc. What's the story?
Odd one. Happened a few minutes after 11. You want to sit down a minute? I'll fill you in before we go back and take a look at the body.
Thank you very much.
I understand it's a woman, that right?
Yeah, Grace Morgan. She's the night nurse on duty. She told me she was sitting at the desk checking over some patients' cards. It was about 5-10 minutes after 11 when she heard the elevator come up.
Mm-hmm.
She heard the elevator stop and the doors open. Kept on checking the cards there, didn't pay any attention to it, and then she realized nobody got out of the elevator. She looked up, and the elevator doors were still open. She saw this young woman slumped over in a wheelchair sitting there in the elevator.
The woman was alone, was she?
That's right. The nurse went over and wheeled her out of the elevator. The woman was wearing a nightgown, bathrobe over that. She was unconscious. Nurse called me. The two of us took the woman into a treatment room. I examined her. She was dead.
Any indication how long?
Body was still warm. She'd only been dead a short time.
Any idea of the cause of death?
I noticed a couple of abrasions on her right shoulder, another one in the right temporal region. Not positive, but I don't think any of them were severe enough to cause death.
No other markings at all?
No, she seemed to have been in good physical condition. Noticed a strong smell of alcohol, though. Could be she'd been drinking.
Is the nurse pretty sure the woman came up the elevator alone? Possibility one of the attendants might have brought her up?
No, I checked with the attendant on duty down in the first floor lobby, Ray Collins. He didn't bring her up. He said a man came in the lobby about 11 o'clock. Said he had a sick woman out in his car. He asked for a wheelchair to bring her in. Ray asked if he could help, but the man said he'd take care of it. That's all Ray knows about it. He let the man have a wheelchair, then he went in the back room to change some linens on the ambulance stretcher.
Mm-hmm. Any possibility one of the other attendants might have brought her up in the elevator?
No, Collins was the only attendant on duty.
I'd like to talk to him. Is he still around?
Yeah, I knew you'd want to see him. He was off duty 11:30. I held him over. He's down at the corner having a sandwich. He'll be back in a few minutes.
What do you figure, Doctor? Think the woman could have operated the elevator herself?
Possible. Not too probable, though. It's a self-operating elevator, automatic.
Mm-hmm.
Someone could have wheeled the woman into the elevator, pushed the button for the third floor, and then stepped back. Would have taken her straight up.
Yeah. The nurse is sure the elevator didn't go back down after it got up here, huh?
Positive. She heard the elevator doors open. They stayed that way. She kept waiting for someone to come out, and that's what attracted her attention.
How about identification? Did the woman have a purse with her or anything like that, Doc?
No, all she had was what she was wearing, nightgown, slippers, and bathrobe. Let's go back and have a look. I'll show you.
Okay, thank you.
You say the only markings on the body are those abrasions on the shoulder and the forehead.
Yeah, that's right.
And you don't think that's why she's dead? You have any ideas at all?
I wouldn't want to say, Lockwood. Strange one. Going to have to wait for the autopsy.
Well, how about the wheelchair the woman came up in, Doc? Where's it now?
Back here in the same room with the body. I gave notice it wasn't to be touched. I knew you'd want to check.
Oh, fine.
In here.
All right to smoke in here?
Yeah, sure.
Fine. Want a cigarette?
No, thanks.
Bill?
No.
Over here on the table. Nurse put the woman's clothing over there. Nightgown, slippers, bathrobe.
I see.
Seems to be a fairly young woman.
I'd say in her early 30s. Nice-looking girl. well groomed. Notice her hair and fingernails well kept.
And bruise there on her head. Took a pretty good blow to cause that, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, might even be worse than it looks. Hard to say right now. Other abrasions I was telling you about, right here along the clavicle, seem to be fairly distinct. 3 or 4 of them.
That's all of them, huh?
That's it. Like I say, we'll know more after they post the body. Take a look at the clothing over here.
Want to check over the bathrobe, Bill?
Yeah.
There's no label here. Size marking, though. Size 34. Just an ordinary rayon nightgown. Seems to be fairly new. It's not damaged.
Nothing on the bathrobe, Joe. Both pockets empty. No visible markings. Manufacturer's label here. Fairly common trade name.
Laundry marks?
No, none showing. We can have the crime lab check them over. How about the slippers?
No, it's the same. Nothing.
You fellas want me to notify the coroner?
No, we'll get it, Doc. We have to call in for the crime lab crew anyway.
It looks like a rough one. We don't even know what we've got.
I can't figure it. If somebody murdered the woman, why'd they bring her here to die?
Yeah.
If she was sick or hurt and they were worried enough about it to bring her here, why'd they want to get rid of her? Leave her alone in an elevator.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense. Somebody's got something to hide.
Sure could use a lead. Man puts her on the elevator and sends her up 3 floors. Don't know who she is, how she died. Don't even know where she came from.
Well, there's no choice. We'll just start at the beginning.
Yeah?
Ground floor. 11:52 p.m. The receiving hospital attendant, Ray Collins, returned, and we interviewed him in Dr. Terrell's office. He told us substantially the same thing the doctor had told us. At a few minutes past 11 o'clock that night, a man entered the lobby of the hospital and asked for a wheelchair to move a patient up to the 3rd floor. Collins stated he gave the man the wheelchair. The man refused his offer of assistance, and Collins went on about his work. He didn't see the patient. He didn't see any car parked outside, and he was able to give us only a partial description of the man himself. A male Caucasian, about 35 years old, short, heavy-build, dark hair. The crew from the crime lab arrived and began their investigation. The body was photographed and fingerprinted, and the wheelchair was also dusted for prints. The clothing was packed up to be taken downtown for further examination. After the men from the crime lab left, Bill Lockwood began a canvass of the immediate neighborhood for possible witnesses. Meantime, I checked with the rest of the hospital personnel and the patients. They could tell me nothing. 12:30 a.m., I met Bill back at Dr. Terrell's office.
How'd you do, Joe? Any luck?
Talked to the nurses and some of the other attendants. They couldn't help any. Checked with the dispatcher on incoming and outgoing ambulances. Nothing there. What about you?
No good. Most of the business places around here are locked up. Talked to the newsboy down at the corner. He was about the only one on the street. He didn't see anything.
Sure going slow, isn't it? Might give Bergman a call, see if he's got the woman's prints classified yet.
How about the coroner? Show up yet?
Yeah, I think he's in here now. Yes, ma'am. Give me station 2557. Yeah, that's right. Latent print. Hi, let me talk to Bergman, please. Right. Yeah, Dean, Joe Friday. No, we're still over at the hospital. You do any good on those prints? Uh-huh. Yeah, that's what we figured. How about her print? Okay, Dean, thanks. Yeah, right. Well, we're still batting 1,000.
What do you say? They make her prints?
Nothing in records on her. Dean's going to send along a set to Washington, see if they got anything.
How about the wheelchair? Any prints there?
Well, the nurses and Doc Terrell's, that's all. We figured on that, didn't we?
Lousy luck.
Sure is. I checked with missing persons while you were out. There's nothing there either.
Well, that about finishes up here, huh?
Yeah, we better get back to the office.
Joe?
Yeah,
I
Don.
think I got something for you here.
Yeah?
Nurse at the switchboard got a call a minute ago. Man's voice wanted to know the condition of Carla Cheswick.
Mm-hmm.
Nurse checked the list of patients, didn't find anyone by that name. The man insisted she's here. The nurse asked him what time the woman was admitted to the hospital. He told her 11 o'clock tonight.
Yeah?
The man said, I know she's there. I brought her myself.
Along with Dr. Terrell, Bill Lockwood and I went down the hall and talked to the nurse who'd received the phone call. She told us that she tried to question the caller as to his name and his relationship to the alleged patient, Carla Cheswick, but the man refused and hung up. We put in a call to R&I and asked him to run the name for us. There was no one by that name in the files. We went back to the doctor's office and started checking through the telephone directories. In the northwestern section, we found a listing for a Mrs. Carla Z. Cheswick on North Capitol Avenue. We called the number, but there was no answer. Then we checked with the office, told them what we had, and that we were going to follow through on it. 1:18 a.m. It was only a possibility, but it had to be checked out. Bill Lockwood and I left Georgia Street Receiving Hospital, got in the car, and drove out to the address on North Capitol Avenue. It was a large apartment house, fairly new. The name on the mailbox for apartment 18 was Mrs. Carla Cheswick. We rang, but there was no answer. We finally had to get the manager out of bed, a Mrs. Herbert. We identified ourselves and explained the reason for our visit. She got a pass key, showed us upstairs to the second floor, and let us in apartment 18. There was no one there, but there was evidence of a recent party within a matter of hours. half-filled cocktail glasses, an empty whiskey bottle, a glass bowl containing partially melted ice cubes. An end table in the corner had been overturned. In the bedroom, women's clothing was scattered on the floor and on the dressing table. On the mantel in the living room, there was a picture of a woman.
Did you notice anything unusual about her at that time, Miss Herbert? I mean, anything out of the ordinary?
No, don't think so. She'd been drinking some. I'm pretty sure of that. That's not unusual for Mrs. Cheswick. She drinks quite a bit. Parties and things. Runs around a lot.
Yes, ma'am. You didn't notice anything about her face? No cuts, bruises, anything like that?
No, nothing like that. Why?
And you told us she had quite a few men friends. Do you know any of their names, where they live?
No, can't say if I do. She was just one of the tenants. I didn't try to get acquainted. Didn't have much in common with her. The other tenants didn't either, matter of fact. She kept pretty much to herself, her and her friends.
Mm-hmm. I see. Now, about this party she had last night, Miss Herbert. You say you don't know who was there with her?
No, I'm afraid I don't. When I called her on the phone to ask her to quiet things down, I heard that one man's voice talking. That's about all, though. I couldn't tell you who was there.
Well, is there anyone at all that you know of that was close to her? I mean, someone we could talk to about her.
Well, her husband, I suppose. He's the only one close to her I know. He comes around every month and takes care of the rent. Kind of a peculiar thing, but I never questioned it. I figured it's their business, live and let live.
You have any idea where we can find the husband?
Well, I'm not sure. He works at a machine shop out near Glendale. I have his home address in my rent book downstairs if you want it.
Yes, ma'am. We'd like to have that if we could. Would you happen to know how Mrs. Cheswick and her husband got along? I mean, the separation of theirs. Was it friendly, or did they still quarrel quite a bit?
No, as far as I know, they got along all right, as long as they didn't have to live together. Poor Mr. Cheswick, I feel sorry for him. He's going to take it hard. His wife, I don't know whether to blame or pity her. She was a terrible disappointment to him.
That's all?
I had a long talk with him once. Seemed like such a nice man, hard worker. And his wife, he was so disgusted. I mean, drinking all the time, going out with different men. Bitter disappointment. He told me how he felt.
Well, did he seem violent on the subject? I mean, did he feel anger toward his wife? Would you know?
No, just pity. He said he'd rather have her dead than go on the way she was.
We checked through the dead woman's apartment for names and addresses of some of her men friends, but we found nothing. The crew from the crime lab went over the apartment thoroughly. The only evidence found were fingerprints on some of the cocktail glasses. Along with the apartment manager, Mrs. Herbert, we went downstairs, and she gave us Mr. Cheswick's home address and also his place of employment. 2:30 a.m. We got to a phone and called Cheswick's home, but the people he was staying with told us that he wasn't there. He was working the all-night shift at a farm implement factory on Glendale Boulevard. 3:05 a.m. Bill and I drove out to the factory and checked with the night personnel superintendent. He directed us to the factory repair shop where Cheswick was employed as a welder. The foreman at the repair shop pointed him out for us. Cheswick was working on the welding line, a tall, thin man, slight build. Bill Lockwood and I went back and introduced ourselves.
Yes, sir, Andy Cheswick. That's my name. What can I do for you?
I'd like to talk to you for a few minutes if we could. It's about your wife.
Donna? What's the matter? Is she in trouble again?
Well, it might be better if we could step outside and talk. It won't take very long.
All right, I got to finish up this little job here if you don't mind waiting. A couple of pieces of tubing. It won't take a minute.
Sure, you go right ahead.
You might stand back a couple of steps. This thing pops a little.
Okay, thanks.
Too much oxygen. Have to light it again. Yeah, that does it.
Don't look at the flames, Joe. Bad for your eyes.
Yeah, I know.
They're sure in their money, don't they?
Yeah, they seem to. A lot of work.
Finish in a second here. Okay, that's got it. Now, what's this about my wife, Sergeant? What's the matter?
We understand you're separated from her, Mr. Cheswick.
Yeah, that's right. About a year ago now. I finally gave it up as a bad job. Wasn't anything I could do for her. Nothing anybody could do for her. Hopeless.
Well, when's the last time you saw her?
First of the month, went by to pay her rent. Dropped in to say hello, that's all. I stay away as much as I can. No good bum, that's about all you can say about her. Shame to admit I was even married to her. Why do you ask, anyway?
Your wife's dead, Mr. Cheswick.
Huh?
Yes, but she died late last night. Found her at Georgia Street Receiving Hospital.
Oh. Guess I've been expecting something like that. I can't feel sorry. It's probably the best thing for her. How'd it happen?
Well, we're not sure. I wonder if we could step outside. Sure be a lot easier to talk, wouldn't it?
Yeah, all right.
Fine.
Over here, we can duck out the back way.
Okay.
You say they found her at Georgia Street, huh? What was it? She in an accident?
Oh, so it doesn't look like that. We're going to have to wait for the coroner's report. What time do you check in at night for work, Mr. Cheswick?
You're supposed to be on the job by 10 o'clock. I punched in before that tonight. Why?
A routine question. I suppose the men around the plant will vouch for you. You checked in at 10 and you've been here ever since?
Yeah, that's right. You can ask any of them. What's the pitch? You think I had something to do with it? Carla getting killed?
Well, we didn't say that, Cheswick. Your wife's dead, and we have to check on all the leads, all the possible suspects.
Well, I don't know how it happened, but I didn't have any. I lived 9 years with her. Lousiest 9 years of my life. Booze, parties, going out all the time. She wasn't a wife. She didn't know what the word meant.
I understand she's been running around with different men lately. Do you happen to know any of them?
No, I don't know. I couldn't care less. Stupid dame, Sergeant. That's the easiest way you can let her off. I tried to make a go of it. Wasn't any good. I worked for her, tried to give her everything she wanted. Didn't make any difference.
Yeah?
She's a bum. Some of them must be born that way, a bum dame. I could have killed her. I had reason enough to. I didn't.
How about your wife's drinking habits? She do most of it at home, or did she go out to bars?
Always at the bar. Only one place she ever went to. A place on 8th and Rosewood, right on the corner. Went there all the time, 6, 7 nights a week. She'd hang over the bar all night. I'd like to put up with that for 9 years, huh? Drinking, going off somewhere on weekend.
Well, how come it lasted that long, Cheswick?
I don't know. I guess I should have had my head examined. Just a bum. I figured I could change her. Kept trying. Never worked out. After the drinking, she'd have these terrific headaches. It'd make her sick. I'd stay home from work and take care of her, wait on her hand and foot. She always made promises, nothing but a liar. As soon as she got well, she'd start it all over again. Same thing.
Yeah.
Just a bum, a tramp. No good at all, no good. She's a tramp, no good tramp.
Cheswick? Mr. Cheswick, is there anything we can do?
Carla. She's dead. Carla.
When the dead woman's husband, Ernest Cheswick, recovered, we continued questioning him, but we got nowhere. Before we left the plant, we checked his time card, talked to the machine shop foreman and some of the men Cheswick worked with. We got the same story all along the line. Cheswick had showed up for work at 9:46 p.m. the night before and had not left the plant since that time. 4:35 a.m. Bill and I got in the car, drove back to the office, and typed up a 15.7 report for Captain Warman. 8:30 a.m. Over in the county morgue, the body of Mrs. Cheswick was being posted. A few minutes past 10 a.m., Bill Lockwood and I drove out to a bar on the corner of 8th and Rosewood, the same bar where Ernest Cheswick told us his wife did most of her drinking. It was a typical neighborhood cocktail lounge in the early morning. 2 customers sipping beer at the far end of the bar. The manager busy washing glasses and bringing in supplies. We called him over and identified ourselves.
Popular girl. Married old Ernie Cheswick. They're separated now.
Yeah, would you know if she was in here last night?
That's right, she was. Hardly Mrs. Knight. Why?
Would you happen to know about what time she left last night?
8:30, about that. Might ask that fellow there downtown the bar. He'd know better than me.
Well, how's that?
He left with her.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
To show our confidence in Fatima, we make this money-back guarantee.
Buy a pack of Fatimas. Enjoy Fatima quality, extra mildness, and superbly blended tobaccos.
If you're not convinced Fatima is better than the king-size cigarette you're now smoking, just return the pack and the unsmoked Fatimas by August 1st, 1952, for your money back plus postage. Fatima, Box 37, New York 1.
Prove Fatima quality yourself. Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
Fatima gives you more for your money.
And in Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack. Best of all, king-size cigarettes.
November 10th, Thursday, 10:14 a.m. The manager of the cocktail lounge pointed out the man at the end of the bar who was supposed to have left the place shortly after 8 o'clock the night before with the dead woman, Carla Cheswick. Bill Lockwood and I went up to the man, identified ourselves, and questioned him briefly. He appeared tense and highly nervous. He told us his name was John Gables, an assistant sales manager for a downtown jewelry concern. He didn't deny that he was in the bar the night before, but he refused to admit that he left with Mrs. Cheswick. He insisted he didn't even know her. We asked him to account for how he spent his time the night before, but he refused. We got in the car and drove downtown to the city hall. While Bill took the suspect to the interrogation room, I stopped by the R&I counter and had to make a run on Gables. He had no previous criminal record. I called the morgue, but there was no report on the autopsy yet. 10:52 a.m. I signed in at the office, briefed Captain Lorman on the developments, and then I headed down the hall to the interrogation room.
We had a couple of drinks together, and that's all there was to it. You can ask anybody who was there. She got up and left by herself. I didn't go with her.
And Joe?
Yeah.
Gables here was just telling me he did see Mrs. Cheswick in the bar last night. Had a couple of drinks with her.
Why'd you hold out, Gable? Why couldn't you told us that when we asked you?
You didn't remember then. You came up to me in the bar, started asking questions. I got all rattled.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't make any difference, though. I didn't even know her name. She had those couple of drinks with her, and then she got up and left. That's all. I didn't go out with her.
And the bartender says you did. He's sure of it. Says he can get half a dozen other people to back him up.
He's wrong. He's got to be. He's thinking of somebody else.
Well, if you didn't leave the bar with Miss Cheswick, when did you leave?
I don't know. About 5 or 10 minutes later, I guess.
Where'd you go then?
I walked around a little bit, got a little fresh air,
Mm-hmm.
and I went to a show.
Which one?
I don't remember the name of the place. It's on Rosewood, a couple of blocks down from the bar.
What picture did you see?
I'm not sure. I had a couple of drinks.
You went to the movies. You don't even know what you saw.
Well, I told you I had a couple of drinks. I was feeling pretty good. I just don't remember, that's all.
Not much of an alibi, Gables.
What are you talking about? I don't need an alibi.
A woman's dead, mister. You were with her the last time she was seen
I
alive.
wasn't with her. I don't care what anybody tells you. I wasn't with her.
This movie you say you went to. What time did you get out?
After midnight, I think. I don't remember.
Where'd you go after that?
Bar, had a few more drinks, and then went back to my hotel.
Which bar was that?
Place on West 7th. I go there sometimes. I know the bartender.
What time did you leave there?
Closing time, 2 o'clock, and then I went back to my hotel.
Uh-huh. You say you know the bartender there. I guess he'd be glad to vouch for you. I mean, that you were there when you said you were.
I don't know. Maybe not. He was pretty busy last night. Maybe he didn't notice me.
How about your hotel?
Huh?
The desk clerk. Somebody like that. They should be able to tell what time you got in, don't you think?
Well, they wouldn't know. I always carry my key with me. I go in the side door. They wouldn't know what time I got in.
What are you trying to sell, mister?
What are you talking about?
You knocked around town from 8 o'clock last night till past 2 o'clock this morning. You can't think of anyone that could vouch for you, where you were, what time you got there, what time you left?
I can't think of anybody right now. I don't take down names and addresses every time somebody looks at me. What's the difference anyway? I didn't have anything to do with the girl.
This difference, Gable. The attendant at the hospital, he got a good look at the man who came in and asked for that wheelchair. He gave us a man's description. It fits you pretty close.
So what? It doesn't mean anything. He could make a mistake, too, just like that bartender.
They're all wrong but you. Is that what you're trying to say?
Look, as far as I'm concerned, I only got one thing to say. I had a couple of drinks with Carla last night, and that's all. She left by herself. I didn't even go near the apartment.
How'd you know she had an apartment?
Well, you told me. You said so.
No, we didn't say anything like that.
And I guess I heard it around the bar. Maybe she mentioned to me. Yeah, that's probably it.
Why don't you come off it, Gable?
Come off what? I don't even know what you're getting at.
We want a straight story, and we're not getting it. You told us you didn't even know the Cheswick woman before last night. You didn't even know her name.
That's right.
Then why'd you say Carla just a minute ago? You said I had a couple of drinks with Carla.
I say that?
That's what you said.
Maybe I just hadn't remembered. I was drinking quite a bit, talking to her. Maybe I just remembered it.
Won't do, Gables. Story doesn't hold water. How about it?
I don't know. I was drinking quite a bit. A lot of things I don't remember.
How about giving it to us straight? What do you remember?
I thought about it all night. The more I went over it, the worse it got. I just couldn't remember. I knew what it would sound like in court. I couldn't tell it that way.
You couldn't tell what?
I didn't kill her. I didn't even touch her. You got to believe that.
Yeah.
I left the bar with her about 8:15, 8:30. She invited me up to her apartment. She was pretty well gone. Had quite a few drinks.
Mm-hmm.
We got there and had some more to drink, and then Carla got up and started for the kitchen to get some more ice. She tripped, I think, stumbled a little bit, and then she fell down. I think that's the way it was.
All right, go on.
She tried to get up, and then she fell again. Wasn't a bad fall, though. I figured she just passed out. Got some cold towels, ice water. I tried to bring her around. It wasn't any good. She was white as a sheet. I got scared. I didn't know what happened.
What'd you do then?
I don't remember. I just kept trying to bring her around. I don't remember any of it very well. I don't even know why she fell down.
You think you could have hit her, Gables? You think maybe that's why she fell down?
No. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think I was mad at her for anything. I think we were having a pretty good time. I just don't remember, that's all. I'm not sure about any of it. Lousy booze, no good at all.
Did you kill her, Gable?
No, Sergeant, I swear it. As far as I can remember, I didn't. We were having a good time. That's all I know. I know I wasn't mad. I'm not a nasty drunk, not as far as I can remember anyway.
What'd you do when you couldn't revive Mrs. Cheswick? You brought her to the hospital?
Yeah, the shape I was in, I couldn't figure anything else to do. I got her in the car, drove her down to Georgia Street. I put her in the elevator, pressed the button, and sent her up. I'm a married man, you know. I didn't want any scandal and didn't want to get involved.
You didn't kill her. Is that what you want us to believe?
I don't know what to tell you. I don't remember. If I killed her, I think I'd know it. I'm sure I would. I just don't remember.
I'll get it.
Mm-hmm.
Interrogation room, Friday talking. Yeah, Arthur. That's so. Just a second. All right, I got a pencil. I'll go ahead. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Are you sure? How was that? I see. No possibility, huh? Yeah, I see. Okay, Arthur. Thanks a lot. Yeah, sure. We'll pick it up later. Bye.
Yeah, Jim?
Coroner's report. Just finished the autopsy. It's all right, Gable.
Huh?
It's all right. It's all cleared up.
What do you mean?
Well, you're free to go if you like. We're not going to hold you.
What's the pitch, Joe?
Coroner's report. Primary cause of death was a massive cerebral hemorrhage into the ventricle.
Could have been a blow on the head, couldn't it? You figure that could have done it?
No. Secondary cause was a brain tumor, a big one. Coroner says she's had it for years. Must have caused her a lot of pain. Probably would have accounted for the drinking.
And the tumor wrote on the hemorrhage. That's what's killed her.
That's it. Coroner says erosion of the blood vessel by brain tumor. Probably grew, caused pressure on a blood vessel, finally gave way, caused a hemorrhage, and it killed her.
And she just died. That didn't have anything to do with it. She died and I didn't kill her.
Yes, sir, that's right. You're free to go if you want.
Thank God. You know, officers, I'll tell you the truth. I didn't know the answer. I didn't know if I killed her or not. I really didn't. Drinking so much, I came to, and there she was dead. I didn't know what happened. I really didn't. I didn't know the answer.
Now, you're one up on us, Gable.
Huh?
We thought we did.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On Thursday, November 10th, the meeting was held in the office of Captain of Homicide. In a moment, the results of that meeting.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Friends, there's not much I can add to what George Fenneman and Hal Gibney have already told you about Fatimas. If you smoke them, I know you'll agree with me that Fatima is the best of all king-size cigarettes. If you haven't tried them yet, well, there's only one way to prove it to yourself, and that's to buy a pack and give them a try. I wish you would kind of check up on what we've been telling you. Compare Fatimas with any other king-size cigarette. You'll like Fatima's better flavor and aroma. It's extra mild and soothing smoke. In Fatima, the difference is quality. Buy a pack tomorrow. Fatima.
With the filing of the official autopsy report by the county coroner, John Gables was cleared of all charges. He was released from custody immediately. The death of Mrs. Carla Cheswick was listed as due to natural causes by the coroner's jury.
Ladies and gentlemen, last year's traffic death toll was 37,500, a 7% increase over 1950. The National Safety Council believes that the best way to promote safety on the road is for each of us to know and obey traffic laws, to read and heed traffic signs. So be careful. The life you save may be your own.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Martin Milner, Vic Perrin, and Gwen Delano. Script by Jim Moser. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all king-size cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Now it's Counter Spy on NBC.
The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all king-size cigarettes, brings you Dragnet on both radio and television.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to burglary detail. For more than 2 months, a wave of safe burglaries is apparently it's the work of professionals. The jobs are well planned, well executed. There's no lead to the whereabouts of the suspects. Your job, get them. Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
Yes, compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
Fatima gives you more for your money.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Buy Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack. Best of all, king-size cigarettes.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Sunday, June 8th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary division, safe detail. My partner's Bill Lockwood. The boss is Captain Wisdom. My name's Friday. I was on the way back to the office, and it was 8:36 a.m. when I got to room 45, burglary division.
Joe?
Oh, hi, Smith.
There's a note in the book for us from the captain about your partner, Lockwood.
Yeah, what's that?
Forgot to make that sick report on him yesterday. Did you call him? How's his leg?
Well, I talked to him on the phone last night. Pretty bad ankle sprain. Doctor figures he'll be out for a couple of weeks anyway. Who's the fellow you got there?
Suspect Jones and McCready picked up on stakeout, drugstore, 3rd and Ventura.
What do you got on him?
McCready says they picked him up about 4:45 this morning.
Yeah.
He and Jones were staked out inside the drugstore. Saw this fellow drive up in a car, get out, and try the front door of the place.
Uh-huh.
And he went around and back of the place, tried the back door. Then he came around in front again, tried to jimmy the door. Finally gave up, got in his car, and started to drive off. Jones and McCready followed him, picked him up, and brought him in.
Where's Jones and McCready now, do you know?
I told him to go ahead home. No reason for him to hang around. We carried the thing from here.
What have you done so far? Did you check him through R&I yet?
Call Frank Cunningham. He's doing it now. Boyd, an address at 239 West 92nd Street. That's what he tells us, anyway.
Mm-hmm. Is that your name, fella?
Yeah, that's my name. It's all my identification. No reason for me to lie. You can check me out.
All right. Hold your hand up there. I'll get these cuffs off you.
Yeah, sure.
All right, there you are.
Yeah, thanks. Sure tired sitting here handcuffed, sitting in one place.
Frank, you want to tell Gaffney we'll be down in the interrogation room when R&I calls back? Tell him to transfer it in there, would you?
Yeah, okay. I'll meet you there.
All right, thanks. All right, Boyd, let's go. I'd like to talk to you down the hall.
Yeah, let's get this thing over with. I don't feel good. I want to get out of here.
What are you shaking for? There's nothing to get nervous about. He was sick.
Yeah, I haven't been feeling good at all the last couple of days. Hey, wouldn't you know it? I was smokes. Hey, say, would you happen to have a cigarette, please?
Yeah. Here.
Thanks.
Here's a light for you.
Yeah, I got it. Thanks.
All right. Turn around a minute, will you? Let me look at your eyes.
Huh?
Turn around. All right, let's go.
It's okay, Joe. I told Gaffney he'll put through the call from R&I.
Oh, that's fine.
You sure this won't take long? I'd like to get out of here and get home. I've been sick for a week. I ought to be in bed right now.
We'll make it as fast as we can. All right, in here.
Have a chair, Boyd.
Yeah.
All right, mister. You say you're not feeling well, you're tired, you want to go home. So are we. We've been working all night. Now, how about getting to the bottom of this thing?
Oh, sure, I'm all for it. Try to explain to the guys who picked me up. I don't know what it's all about. Ask me anything you want.
Now, let's start it here, Boyd. What were you doing out there hanging around that drugstore at 4:45 this morning?
It's the same thing I told the other officers. I was sick. I wanted to get something for my nerves. Jumpy as a cat. I couldn't sleep.
Well, the drugstore was closed. That was pretty obvious, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. It was. I just drove up there, tried the door, and I saw the joint was closed, so I left. That's all there is to it. Just what I told the other
No,
officers.
that's not true, Boyd, and you know it isn't. You hung around the store for more than 10 minutes. You tried the front door, then you waited a couple of minutes. You went around to the back. You tried to get in back there. You couldn't make it, so you came around front again. You tried to jimmy the front door, didn't you?
No, that's not it. You got it all wrong.
How about this, Boyd? This your crowbar?
Yeah, what about it? Just a car tool used to fix flat tires. Carry it around all the time in the car.
You carry it on you?
No, not all the time. I just happen to have it, that's all.
Now, look, Boyd, that's not going to get it. The officers that picked you up saw you using this bar on the door of that drugstore. I thought you were willing to get down to facts. You were going to square with us. How about it?
Sure, I'll square with you. I wanted to get over as much as you do. Just tell me what you want to know.
All we want is the truth. This address on your ID, the one you gave us, is that your true address? You're living there now?
Yeah, that's right. Check it out if you want. I'm not lying. No reason to lie.
We think there is. This address of yours is just about 10 miles away from where you were picked up. Now you tell us how much sense it makes driving 10 miles to a drugstore at 4:30 in the morning.
Well, I had to. I was sick. It was the only place open.
You're lying and you know it, mister. You had to pass at least 2 all-night drugstores on the way. Why couldn't you stop at one of those?
I didn't see any stores open. I was sick. I just kept driving till I spotted a place I thought was open. Looked to me like it was open. A lot of lights in the window, inside the store, too. I didn't know it was closed till I tried the door.
You usually try doors with a crowbar, Boyd?
Oh, look, what are you getting at? You think I was trying to break in that place?
Yeah, that's what we think.
Well, what for? Well, I want to break in there. I wanted to get something for my nerves, that's all. I wanted to find a drugstore. Why should I break or open a place and just get a bottle of medicine, huh?
We don't think you were looking for medicine, Boyd.
Well, then what was it? Well, what do you figure?
This is what we figure, mister. You were going in that store to burglarize the safe. The area's the same, the time element's right, so's the type of business. The M.O. matches right down the line.
I don't know what you're talking about.
6 safe jobs in the last 2.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's the truth. I'm not a burglar. You got me wrong. I never touched a safe in my life.
How many times you been arrested, mister?
Huh?
How many times you been arrested?
Well, a couple of times. I've been picked up. Nothing serious, though, so help me. It's the truth. I never touched a safe in my whole life.
It's not going to do much good lying to us, Boyd. We'll get everything we need from records.
Well, I got a record. I ain't denying that, but I'm no burglar.
Then what were you doing at 4:45 this morning trying to get in that drugstore if you're not a burglar?
I tried to explain to you. I wasn't trying to break in. I needed some medicine, something for my nerves. I thought the place was open. I'm a sick man. I swear on a Bible officer. That's just the way it was.
I get it. Yeah, Friday talking. Oh, yeah, Cunningham. Charles Boyd. Yeah, that's right. That's him. What do you got? Uh-huh. All the same. I see. Give me the last 2 arrests. No, the last 2 arrests again. Yeah. May 9th, May 22nd. All right, Cunningham. Yeah, thanks very much. Frank, you got that folder there, those crime reports?
Yeah, here you are. What do you have to say?
Boyd was in custody May 9th, May 22nd.
What was he in on?
Narcotics. He's a user. Long record. It's all the same, though. Never been picked up for anything but narcotics.
Just about rules him out, huh? 9th and the 22nd. If he was in jail, he couldn't have had anything to do with those last 2 judges.
That's about the size of it.
You got it straight now, huh? I told you. You thought I was lying, didn't you? I'm no burglar. You know what my record is. I never touched a safe in my life.
Just checking it out, Boyd. Sometimes it happens this way.
Sure. No hard feelings. I'll take off now and go home. I'm not feeling well at all. I guess it's okay if
No, you just sit still, Boyd. You're not going yet.
What do you mean?
Red tab on your card down at the Record Bureau. Your last arrest, May 22nd, violation State Narcotics Act. You went out on a $1,500 bail.
Yeah, that's right. It was all legal. I paid for it.
Why didn't you show up for your preliminary hearing? We got a bench warrant for your arrest.
Oh, no, they wouldn't do that to me, would they? I was sick in bed. I couldn't make it to court. You just look at me. You can tell, can't you? I ought to be in bed.
Yeah, you don't look good at all.
Of course I don't. I'm a sick man, really sick. I'll be in a hospital.
Well, maybe that's where they'll send you. We continued questioning the suspect, Charles Boyd, who finally admitted that he'd gone to the drugstore early that morning for the purpose of burglarizing the place to obtain narcotics. He told us it was his first attempt at burglary, and further interrogation proved beyond a doubt he had nothing to do with the current wave of safe burglaries. He was booked on the bench warrant, and narcotics detail was notified of his arrest. For all practical purposes, we were right back where we'd started from 2 months before, when the campaign of safe jobs first started. Boyd was just another in a long line of possible suspects who had to be tracked down and checked out. In the final analysis, they meant nothing to the case, but tracking them down and checking them out meant long hours of legwork, days, even weeks, and then more hours spent interrogating them. Boyd typified the possible suspect. He added nothing, but he couldn't be ignored. In the weeks that followed, stakeouts continued in the general area where the safe burglaries had been operating. No further leads. The investigation went on. On June 17th, Frank Smith and I drove out to the San Fernando Valley to check a lead on a possible suspect we'd gotten from one of our informants. Was that the possible suspect, an ex-convict by the name of Mark Chandler, who'd served time for burglary, had apparently come into some money recently. Through the parole office, we located Chandler on a chicken ranch just outside of Van Nuys.
Yeah, I've been out here almost 3 months now. Nice life. Pretty hard work, though. Got a few routine questions for you, Mark. Like we told you, we're from burglary detail. I guess you know why we're out here. Yeah, I think I get the idea. I admit there was a time when you wouldn't be very welcome, but right now it's different. Anything I can do to help, it's all right, folks.
We're going to lay it right on the table for you, Mark. You own this place, do you?
Yeah, that's right. Me and my brother.
Where'd the money come from?
My brother. He set the whole thing up.
You say you and your brother. Whose money bought the place, Mark?
Well, my brother made the down payment. You can check on it. The whole deal went through escrow right down here at the local bank. What's the deal, anyway? Didn't you check with my parole officer? Yeah, we checked with Galloway. He told us you were still on active parole. You were running a chicken ranch. Didn't say it was for your brother, though. Well, I thought I filled him in on it. I didn't have enough cash to swing the deal. My brother put up most of the dough. I only had $800.
Uh-huh. That's your car back there in the driveway, Mark?
No, it's my brother's. Nice one, huh?
Yeah.
I got permission from the parole officer to drive. Say, would you mind walking back with me to the brooder shack? I got a new batch of Rhode Islands in this morning. Day-old chicks. Got to be sure the heat's right.
Yeah, all right.
There's a lot of work around a place like this. I just built those pens there.
Uh-huh. They're nice.
Good-looking flock of chicks there, wouldn't you say? 4 weeks old. Those are barred rots. Notice how they're starting to feather out already, getting nice and heavy? Make wonderful fryers, you know.
Oh, that's all?
Oh, yeah. Just a minute. Hey, will you look at that mash rack? They like fiends. I just filled that thing an hour ago. That's where the money goes. You know that mash goes for better than $5 a sack?
Look, we don't want to take too much of your time, Chandler. We can see you're busy. We've got a couple of dates we'd like to check with you. Where you were, what you did.
Oh, sure, fellow. Just let me check the temperature in the brooder house here. It won't take a minute. Hey, come on in.
All right.
They're pretty cute when they're small, huh? Let me see here.
Just look at that, huh, Joe? Piled all over each other. Must be more than 1,000 of them.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, just right. 89. Got to watch them pretty close the first week. Fell up the road, lost a big batch last week. Heating element in the brooder went out overnight. Oh, yeah, got to shove that door hard. Sticks a little.
Yeah, I'll get it.
Okay, what else was it, officers? Glad to help you any way I can.
Those dates we want to check, Mark. It was almost a month ago, the week ending May 7th.
Yeah.
Can you account for your time on that weekend, where you were, what you did?
The 7th? Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I was here.
Any way of proving that?
Yeah, I think so. I started here the 23rd of April. Been here every night since.
Anyone we can check with on that?
Well, my brother and his wife. They were here, they can tell you. Neighbors, too. They come over for cards on the weekend. Come to think of it, I remember my parole officer was out to see me one of those weekends. I'm pretty sure of it. You can check with him.
All right, Mark, thanks.
Hey, what's the pitch anyway, Sergeant? Safe jobs around town, is that it?
That's it. You heard anything, Mark? Any rumbles at all?
No, sorry. This job keeps me pretty close to home. I don't get around at all. Maybe 2-3 nights a month. That's the only time I get out.
That's all we're asking about. Before we left the suspect, Mark Chandler, we called his parole officer, and he substantiated the fact that he'd visited with Chandler on the night of May 7th, the date of one of the safe burglaries. We checked with his brother, his sister-in-law, and the neighbors, and all of them fully corroborated his story. Before we left, we were satisfied that Chandler had nothing to do with the safe burglaries. It was just another of the more than 100 possibles that we'd checked out in the course of the investigation. On June 22nd, we got a lead on still another one. It came from the proprietor of a fix-it shop on West Pico Boulevard near Normandy. We drove out to interview him.
Yeah, just a minute, officers. Be with you in a minute, all right?
Yeah, okay.
Have to get these keys made. The lady will be back soon. Says she needs them.
What time you got, Frank?
10 to 12. Getting hungry?
Well, I didn't have much breakfast. How about dropping by Felipe's, all right?
Suits me. I could use a good French dip sandwich. Haven't been down there for a while.
Yeah.
All right, officer. Sorry to keep you waiting. I had to get the keys done. I promised the woman.
That's all right, Mr. Van Owen. Well, what was it you wanted to see us about?
Well, I don't know, to tell the truth. Maybe it's something, maybe it's nothing at all. I just don't know. Figured I ought to let somebody know about it.
Yes, sir?
The young fellow was in here the day before yesterday. Said his name was Ralph McKinley. Told me he lived around the neighborhood, but I don't think I ever saw him before. He didn't act right to me.
Mm-hmm.
Said he's an inventor. I doubt it, though. He just didn't look the part to me. Young fellow, you know, dresses pretty flashy. Never met an inventor that looked like that before.
Well, what do you want with you, sir?
He wanted me to make up a piece of machinery for him. He said it was a special part of a new gadget he was working in. He brought in his own drawing of the thing. I got it down here someplace.
Well, what did the young fellow look like? Would you remember that?
Oh, typical pool room cowboy, I guess. About 29, 30 years old. Thin side, tall. Got a lot of gray hair for a young fella. Hair was almost gray. Here's the drawing. This is what he wants me to make up for him.
What do you think it's supposed to be?
Miss McKinley said it was part of a new hydraulic press he's working on. I got a few doubts about that.
How do you mean?
Oh, I've been tinkering around in this business long enough to know what goes into a hydraulic press. Can't see where this thing fits in at all.
Well, what's your idea on it?
I think it's a pull. Only one job they're any good for.
Yeah.
Breaking into a safe.
Before we left the fix-it shop, Van Owen gave us a complete description of Ralph McKinley, the man who'd ordered the gadget made for him. We showed him several mug shots of possible suspects, but he was unable to make any identification. Van Owen told us that McKinley said he'd call back in about 3 or 4 days to pick it up. Except for the man's chance remark that he lived in the neighborhood, Van Owen had no idea as to his whereabouts. 12:10 p.m. We drove back to the office and made arrangements for an immediate stakeout at the fix-it shop. Then we checked the name and description of Ralph McKinley through R&I and through the stats office. It got us nothing. As far as we could find out, he had no previous criminal record. The end of the week came and went. The man known as McKinley failed to show up at Van Owen's fix-it shop to pick up the article that he'd ordered. 8 o'clock Monday morning, June 28th. We got the report when we checked in for work. Despite all precautions, another safe job had occurred over the weekend, this time at a liquor store on South Alvarado. The time, the area, and the M.O. were generally the same. Frank and I drove out to the location. The store was located in the middle of the block, directly beneath an apartment hotel. 2 of the rooms on the second floor of the hotel were situated above the liquor store. In one of these rooms, a hole had been ripped in the floor, a hole large enough to allow a man to pass through it and gain access to the liquor store directly beneath. After we checked over the room, we put in a call for Ray Pinker and the crime lab crew. Then we went downstairs to interview the manager of the hotel, Clyde Winters.
Yeah, I rented that room Friday night. A couple of young fellows that checked in a few minutes before 7. I figure I'm a pretty good judge of faces. They sure didn't look like thieves to me.
How'd they register, Mr. Winters?
One signed his name was Gordon. The other one was Richardson, I think. The register's right outside on the desk. You can check it if you like.
Yes, sir, we'd like to do that. When these 2 men, Gordon and Richardson, checked in here, did they have any baggage with them? Would you know that?
Oh, yes. They had baggage. They took most of it with them, though. They left a few old clothes behind. They must have left for the back way. Sometime late Sunday night, I figure. Imagine tearing up the floor of that room. The lousy bums. I'd sure like to get my hands on them.
Did they have a car, do you know?
Yeah, they had a car. I got the license number, too.
You think you'd recognize the 2 men if you saw them again?
Oh, I'd take them in a minute.
You sure of that, are you?
Positive. I'd know him in a minute, especially the young fellow Richardson. He couldn't have been more than 27, 28 years old.
Yeah.
Hair was gray, almost completely gray.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
To show our confidence in Fatima, we make this money-back guarantee.
Buy a pack of Fatimas. Enjoy Fatima quality, extra mildness, and superbly blended tobaccos.
If you're not convinced Fatima is better than the king-size cigarette you're now smoking, just return the pack and the unsmoked Fatimas by August 1st, 1952, for your money back plus postage. Fatima, Box 37, New York 1.
Prove Fatima quality yourself. Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
Fatima gives you more for your money.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima in the bright sunny yellow pack. Best of all, king-size cigarettes.
Monday, June 28th, 8:55 a.m. The crime lab crew arrived at the scene of the latest safe burglary, the liquor store on South Alvarado, and began their investigation. The store was gone over thoroughly, as well as the hotel room directly above it, through which the burglars had gained access by ripping a hole in the floor. In the store itself, a few feet from the safe, the men from the crime lab found what appeared to be a broken button, probably off a coat. They also found a crumpled envelope on the floor with the name F. Gordon on it, written in pencil. Along with the half a dozen pieces of clothing found in the hotel room, the items were taken back to the crime lab for further examination. 9:10 a.m. After we finished interviewing the hotel manager, Clyde Winters, Frank Smith and I returned to the office with the license number and description of the suspect's car, as well as exemplars of their handwriting, which we'd obtained from the hotel register. We gave our DMV all the information on the car, and they began an immediate check. The vehicle was registered in the name of Ralph McKinley at a Bronson Avenue address. The legal owner was a local bank. We checked the Bronson Avenue place, but they told us there that the man known as McKinley had moved out 7 months before. They had no information on his whereabouts. 10:20 a.m. We talked to the people at the bank which held the pink slip on the car. They told us that the last 2 monthly payments on the car had been mailed in from a Clifford Street address. Frank and I drove out to the location. A one-story duplex apartment building near the intersection of Clifford and Beverly Boulevard.
Nice units, aren't they? Going up all over town.
They seem to be, don't they?
I'll get it.
All right.
Yeah?
Your name Ralph McKinley?
Yeah, that's right. What
Police officers, you want to get your coat, McKinley? Like to talk to you downtown.
for? What's it all about?
Anybody else living here with you?
No, just myself. Look, you mind telling me what this is all about?
Got a few questions we'd like to ask you. Won't take long.
I can't go with you now. I got a business appointment, half an hour. I've been out of town the last couple of months. I'm due back on the job today.
That's all?
Yeah, I just can't spare the time. Appointments all day long. I got a whole flock of business I have to clear up.
Well, that makes us even. Come on, let's go. Well, there wasn't much doubt about McKinley. He fitted the suspect's description almost perfectly. Tall, slight build, approximately 29 years of age, prematurely gray hair. We went over the apartment, but there was no sign of anyone else on the premises. No sign of any of the loot taken in the burglaries. We checked the adjoining garage, but it was empty. The suspect refused to admit that he even owned a car. Frank got on the phone, called the office, and arranged for an immediate stakeout on the apartment. When the men arrived, we drove McKinley back to the city hall and took him to the interrogation room. He was arrogant and uncooperative. We talked to him for a full hour, but he'd admit nothing. Frank left and went down the street to the crime lab to check with Ray Pinker on his findings. I continued questioning McKinley.
I don't care what the old man says. I don't know what you're talking about.
He described you perfectly. He says you were in his fix-it shop a little over a week ago. You told him you were an inventor. You ordered this gadget from him here.
I don't get it. What's that supposed to prove?
Well, you admit you went to the old man. You had him make this thing up for you, didn't you?
I don't admit anything. Why should I?
All we're looking for is a straight story. We're going to get it sooner or later, McKinley. Might as well be now.
You're getting nothing from me. I don't have to tell you a thing.
How about the hotel over on South Alvarado? You stayed there last weekend?
No, of course not. Why should I go to a hotel? I stayed at my place.
Thought you said you'd been away. You just got back in town.
Sure, that's what I said. I just got back last week.
Well, then you didn't stay at that hotel on South Alvarado.
I told you I didn't. I don't even know the place.
But you know Mr. Van Owen, the old fellow at the fix-it shop.
I don't know him either. I don't even go near that end of town.
What end of town?
What are you talking about? Where you said the shop is?
I didn't mention where it was. I asked you if you knew a Mr. Van Owen, if you ever went to his fix-it shop to order anything.
Look, what are you lying for? What's the angle?
No angle, McKinley. I told you I like to have a straight story, that's all.
Well, you got it, mister. You heard everything I have to say. I don't know any old man. I don't know anything about that hotel.
Friday talking. Yeah, Don. How'd it go? Uh-huh. I see. Yeah, we'll pick it up. No, we'll pick it up. Right. Thanks a lot. You don't lie very good, McKinley.
Now what are you talking about?
That was our handwriting man. He just finished checking those exemplars of your handwriting we got from you. He compared them to a signature in the register at the hotel on South Alvarado.
I already told you. I don't know the place.
Young fellow by the name of Richardson checked in there Friday night about 7 o'clock. He signed the register. The signature's in your handwriting, McKinley.
Yeah, sure.
That's right.
I don't know the place. I've never been there.
Now, look, you're going to have to do better than that, fella. The hotel manager's on his way down here now to identify you. So's Mr. Van Owen from that fix-it shop. Maybe you better piece together a new story, huh?
You got my story, cop. I was out of town. You can't prove I wasn't.
All right, McKinley, any way you want it.
Joe?
All right, how'd it go?
Pretty good. Ray Pinker finished checking that stuff at the crime lab. Here's a report on it.
Thank you.
Just about sews it up, no doubt about it.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, what is it this time? More of your phony charges? I want out of here.
Can't be done, McKinley. Report on the clothes found in that hotel room.
They're not my clothes. I wasn't even in the place.
I'd say you were. Cleaning tags on a pair of trousers, one of the coats. Traced them through the dry cleaners to you.
It's a lie. I told you I wasn't in the place.
All right, there's something else here, fella. They ran tests on all the clothes they found in your room. They found particles of fire clay from the safe that you broke into down below in the liquor store. Your coat, your trousers, they were covered with the stuff.
Now, save your breath, will you?
And when you ripped up the floor of that hotel room, you picked up something else on the clothes. Particles of floor varnish. Small bits of wood, they all tie in.
You through?
No, not quite. A piece of broken coat button we picked up a couple of feet from the safe. They matched it up with one of the buttons on your coat, a broken one. The pieces fit perfectly.
Kinley, how about it?
Got my story.
No, you got a lot to explain.
I'll take my chances.
What's the pitch, McKinley? You know you got to come up with a story. Might as well be now.
There's no story to it. I was out of town. I told you that.
Why don't you get off it, mister? It's not going to take much to make a liar out of you. You know that, don't you?
Oh, look, why don't you get off my back, the two of you? I told you everything I'm going to tell you.
Sit down, McKinley.
I'm getting out of here.
Sit down.
All right. Go ahead. I can wait it out as long as you can.
I doubt that.
I'll get it.
All right.
Smith speaking. How's it? Oh, yeah, Jim. What is it? That's right. When? Mm-hmm. Fine. Yeah. Thanks. Piece of news for you, McKinley.
Yeah?
Your partner came back to your place a few minutes ago. Our men picked him up. They're bringing him in now.
That is news to me. I don't have any partner. I'm in business for myself.
That's what your partner figures. Tell me he claims you got all the money. He thinks you were trying to run out on him.
Oh, what money? Look, I showed you my wallet. You know how much I got.
Now, we're going to ask you just once more.
You got it. There's nothing else to say.
All right, Frank.
Yeah, let's book him in. According to Rogers, his partner's willing to talk. We'll get the story from him.
All right, McKinley, let's go.
What do you mean, go where?
Main jail. We're booking you in.
Come on, let's go.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Come on.
What did he say anyway, this guy you say they picked up?
Oh, your partner? I told you what he said. Why? What's the matter?
Nothing. I just asked.
Better order up a stenographer, huh, Joe? Have her ready to take the statement when they bring the guy in.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Sergeant?
Yeah.
Let's go back, I'll tell you.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On September 19th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 91, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, just a parting word about Fatima. I know a lot of you have promised yourself that you'd give Fatima's a try, but, well, you just haven't gotten around to it yet. So I'd appreciate it if you'd kind of keep us in mind the next time you buy cigarettes and ask your dealer for Fatima's. You'll find Fatima gives you more for your money. Compare them with any other king-size cigarette, and you'll find Fatima does have a better flavor and aroma. You'll like its extra mild and soothing smoke. Tomorrow, buy Fatima. Best of all, king-size cigarette.
Ralph Arthur McKinley and his accomplice, John Warren Hatfield, were tried and convicted on 6 counts of second-degree burglary. They received sentences as prescribed by law. Second-degree burglary is punishable by imprisonment in the county jail for not more than 1 year, or by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for not less than 1 nor more than 15 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, to protect our nation and the free world against communist aggression, we must produce vast quantities of guns, planes, tanks, and explosives. Defense of our country against aggression abroad and inflation at home depends on our ability to fill both our military and civilian requirements. Remember, the better we produce, the stronger we grow.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Harry Bartell, Stacey Harris, Jack Crucian. Script by Jim Moser. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all king-size cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
There's more adventurous entertainment with Night Beat next on NBC.